grand juries across the state, and they've not really had much chance. This one right here is the one I've put all the eggs in the basket. This is the one we're asking for. But if this one goes, man, this is going to shake the whole state up because we're calling out the whole government and saying, why have you refused? And I mean, all the way up to Supreme Court. Why have you refused to investigate all of the things that we've called out on DHS with all the massive evidence that we have put forth and shown? And Bob, I had people, because I've called out and said this 100 times, they were waterboarding kids. We've got reports they were waterboarding kids at a mental health facility. You know what? I had two people walked up to me today and asked me this same question. And I just assume people know this. But two people walked up to me today and asked me, what is waterboarding? And I just assume, yes, at church. And I just assume people know. And so what I want to do is tell everybody, waterboarding, if you will remember at Gitmo that we had all these terrorists and that they were waterboarding them, it's putting a rag over their face and pouring water on them. It simulates like they're drowning. It makes them think they're drowning, and they can pull that off and again keep doing it. It's a form of torture. And so we were told that at a mental health institution, it's called Greer, in Enid, that was taking place on mental health children.
What would it? Well, why would they do that?
Bob, I guess discipline. These kids are mental health. They can't talk. They're hard to deal with, and so they're trying to make them do stuff. And again, they had pictures of kids that had been stomped and all kinds of stuff. And I guess they just lost their cool with them, mad at them, something. Again. And Bob, here's the thing. I think you understand this, but a lot of people don't understand this about me. Just because I come out and say, man, we've got alleged waterboarding, or we've got this, or we've got that, that doesn't mean I'm saying it absolutely is 100% true. I'm saying it warrants investigation. And when we can stack on top, and when we can just walk in and here's why we're thinking this, here's why we're thinking this, here's the pictures, guess what? Then when I come and say it would warrant investigation, then guess what? I think that it absolutely. When we have a detention center that kids are being molested in, the feds come in and raid it. Now, Bob, it takes a lot of information, verification for the feds to come in and raid the state. We went to the state way before, showed them all this, and guess what? They refused to do nothing. And then the feds come in, verify what we're saying. But now we got evidence that shows DHS knew this, OJA knew it.
Hey, JJ, start over here. How did you start off today's show?
We said that we were going to announce, or that we're announcing I ran for lieutenant. So again, guys, in case the sound wasn't working, and so I think that's what Bob's telling me, is that he's being polite and saying, JJ, kind of start off and tell us what we're doing. So Bob, what we did, I announced that I am running for lieutenant governor. And I want to just spend some time today just telling people why that, because we started off talking about that I had a lot of people want me to run for the auditor position that's being vacated. And they wanted me to run for, who is that? Bob Anthony that's leaving. Is it Bob Anthony or Tim? What's Tim's name? Anyways, one of the corporation commission guys is leaving. And they wanted me to run for that.
Hey, let's. I'd like to hear this more on why are you're running. We've talked about this in numbers of times. So I'd like to hear it myself.
Well, Bob, here's the deal. First of all, what I want people to think about this. Think in your own mind, can you name the last 3 lieutenant governors that we had? Now, I went all over the state, Bob, and asked that. I asked it to a group of 400 the other day. You were present when I asked 100. I asked over 100 people the other night. One lady said, I can do it. And I said, you'll be the first one. Go ahead. And she couldn't do it.
I can name 2.
Yeah, she got 2, but she couldn't get third. yesterday at Stillwater, I asked the lady that. She got all three of them. It took her a minute. She got all three of them. She's the first one. So think about it. Can you name the last three? If you can, or whether you can or can't, think about, tell me one thing. Now we're going a 20-year span here, Bob. Tell me one thing that you know that a lieutenant governor has done.
What have they accomplished?
Yeah,
Well,
what
see,
have they
that
accomplished?
was what my I guess my thoughts were on this, because the lieutenant governor didn't do anything. I mean,
Seeing
they don't even come to the Capitol. What was his name that was lieutenant governor? I like him. He's on
Matt,
no, not Matt, another one.
Todd,
Huh?
Todd Lamb.
Yeah. You never seen Todd.
Yeah, I like those. I love Matt. I want to tell you something. You just don't get. I love Matt. There's no question. I love him. Todd was a great guy. You know, I know a lot of people mad at Mary Fallon, but Mary Fallon was pretty. I could go and ask Mary Fallon to come. You know, if I said, "Hey, Mary, I need to see you," Bob, she'd have me in there and just like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she's very accessible.
Oh yeah, she was accessible. And again, I got out.
Man, personally, tell you the truth, I don't think she'd lie. I mean, I don't think she'd lie to you like everybody.
I will tell you this: she always treated me very, very good, and I didn't always agree with her politics on things, but even when I disagreed, and even when I voted against her, she didn't hold it against me, and I could call her.
Okay, but what you're saying is you got a plan. Now, lieutenant governor, I've never heard of anybody run for lieutenant governor that has a plan all laid out. They just expected they work with tourism, and that's their main responsibility to take over when the governor's gone. But you have a plan.
Yeah, Bob, and think about this, Bob. Why do we need so lieutenant governor is the head of tourism, but you have a director of tourism, and if you went over and looked at tourism, you actually have like beaucoup people in there. So why in the world do you need a guy just over tourism if we already have a whole agency?
Well, I think the reason that is it's in the Constitution.
Well, I understand that they're over that, but what I'm saying is it shouldn't be a full-time job. If you got a guy hired to do that, you can oversee it, and that should take up a little of your time. It shouldn't be massive. And I will tell you this: I can do tourism standing on my head. That's a byproduct. That's just me having fun. I like fun stuff, tourism. But here's the deal, Bob. We're talking about the second highest seat in Oklahoma. We're talking about if the governor's out, this guy's going to be your acting governor. If something happens to the governor, this person is going to be.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
As lieutenant governor, would you continue to fight for the corruption going on at the Capitol?
Bob, and that's my plan. So here's the deal.
I didn't know that, but
yes. So that goes in my plan. So here's the thing, Bob. Tourism and promoting Oklahoma is what the lieutenant governor does. Now, let me ask you something, Bob. You've done a lot of business, and have you ever worked with companies that want to relocate to Oklahoma, which is what we're trying to do right now? Trump is doing the tariffs. We're having a lot of business come back and relocate, move back into the United States. Guess what? We want those people to come to Oklahoma. We want those large companies.
They're already doing that, JJ. That's automatic.
A little bit, not massive. We would like to invite people to Oklahoma. Now, let me ask you, have you ever worked with a big company and had them relocate to your area? Have you ever done that?
Nope. I've worked with a lot of big companies.
I actually had an opportunity to do that. And what's funny, Bob,
you're going to have somebody to move to Lane, Oklahoma?
Yes, they actually moved down to our area, Bob. And so here's what's funny. When they did, all of these corporate people got told, well, if you want to find a house or a place to build on, call Humphrey. He can locate. I should have filed for a real estate office. You know what I'm saying, Bob? But what was funny, and I didn't know this, Bob. I didn't know this, but this is where you learn being in government. You learn all this stuff. And so I started, man, there's some great places right here in Lane. But here's what's funny. Every one of those in that company had researched this whole area. And they had one school district that they wanted to live in, because I'll guarantee you, why you want to live over there, man? I can get you a lot prettier place right over here, cheaper. Nope, I want to live over here. This is a school with the best grades. This is a school that does this. This is a school that does that. I was shocked, Bob, that every one of those people were the education was a big, big issue to them to move their family here to Oklahoma. Now, I love Ryan Walters. I'll say publicly, I like Ryan Walters, and I think they're after him, and they tried to go after him. I think they tried to smear him this week. But here's the deal. We're now 50th in the nation. We're 50th in the nation. And guess what? We have to come up with a plan, and it's uniting people, and it's starting a promotion to say.
Well, he has, I don't want to get on talking about him, but he has so much of a difficult time because of the unions and all these people are against him. And they're going to fight him no matter what it is. They don't matter what it is. They're going to fight him. They're going to create chaos. They're going to keep on.
So and I agree, Bob. I completely
on him. But what
completely
are you going to do?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because here's the deal. I would step in, whether it's Ryan or whether it's somebody else, whoever is in there as the superintendent, I don't care who it is. I'm going to step in and say, let's come up with a promotion to get all Oklahomans. I don't care if they're Democrat, Republican. Let's get out of the wokeism and all the stuff that don't have anything to do with education. And let's create a advertisement scheme, a promotional, program that says, here's what we got to promote as Oklahoma and get everybody on board with educating our kids. Let's make sure that reading is the top. We got to get a program and we got to start putting that out on the air to all Oklahomans. This is how we're going to change Oklahoma. And we got to go. Now, we had a guy come in and said, we're going to be top 10. Well, guess what? We ain't top 10. And again, I'm not going to make promises like top 10. If you're in second place, you're a loser. That's the way I think. But here's the thing. What we got to do is move forward. And the way you move the ball forward is you got to have a vision. You got to have a plan. And so what you do is come up with a promotion that says, here's the number one. Let's pick 3 top things we're going to work on in education. And let's get us all unified, because guess what, Bob? The reason we can't get anything done is because we're all fighting each other. And I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. Let's all get on the same page. Let's all have the same game plan, and let's all move forward. Now, that's one thing that I can do.
So it would be similar to what you're doing with Bigfoot.
Well, Bob, and again, Bigfoot is something that people came out of the gate saying, oh, JJ's lost his mind. I laughed. I thought that was funny. But here's the thing, Bob. That went worldwide. We have not even begun to scratch the surface on what we can do with Bigfoot and bringing people to Oklahoma. I promise you, if you turn me loose, I will have people all over the world coming right here to Oklahoma to shop, to tourism, to do all kinds of stuff, seeing Oklahoma. And again, Bob, that's just one of the things. We are so rich in history. Bob, did you know they got a deal called the Remnant Rock in Heavener, Oklahoma? You know what? It's called the Remnant Rock.
Remnant Rock.
You know what that is?
No.
It has Viking writing on it, okay? And so there's a big debate whether the Vikings actually got here back, like before Columbus, and we're here in Oklahoma, but that rock is there, and it's something that if people knew was there, Oklahoma has done a terrible. Most Oklahomans don't even know that rock exists. Guess what? We can promote stuff like that, and there's things like that all over Oklahoma. We have so many old forts and forts that were the last stop before you went to Mexico, things that people need to know that would be great tourism here. And again, that's just one little item.
You didn't mention the tribes.
Well, Bob, and you know what? With tourism, and people don't realize this, we have all kinds of cultural centers. And if we made a whole, thing out of the cultural center, and guess what, Bob? You're talking about Bigfoot. I got a deal the other day on a tribal legend of Bigfoot that is awesome. And so again, People go, well, I don't believe in Bigfoot. Doesn't matter if you believe in Bigfoot. We're talking about bringing people to the state of Oklahoma. We're talking about promoting our history, promoting who we are as a people. And guess what? We can do that in a way that is fun. We can do it in a way that draws people to us. But Bob, when we're talking about people relocating, education is one of the number one things. Guess what else they want to see?
What else?
They want to
JJ Humphrey?
No, here's the deal, Bob. Do you want to go somewhere where a bunch of crackheads are walking around on the street and,
Nope.
and homeless people and all of that kind of stuff? Do you know, Bob, that we had our criminal justice system hijacked over 12 years ago? We had it hijacked. Do you know that the DAs are committing fraud by doing DA probation? They know that they're committing fraud, and now we have no supervision. So all these people committing crime just keep on committing crime, and we leave them out in the community because the DA won't revoke them because they're making money off of them. And so again, you have no supervision. You have no people trying to help these people change their behavior, and again, or holding them accountable. If these people don't want to change their behavior, then let's send them to jail and get them off the street. But let's
about that, JJ. I've heard about a guy who was on trial for murder, and there was lies in the trial. The DAs did stuff wrong. It was just all wrong, and they got proof that it was all wrong. That's not having words to them. They got the proof that digged up and researched it, and have the proof of what they did was wrong. The DAs, but they won't change that because of the family. The family says, "Oh, we think he's guilty," but they even told him he was innocent.
The problem is we have multiple cases like that. It's not one case. We've got David Fleener. We've got Richard Glossop. We've got a guy named Clarence Smith. We've got, and again, all of these, I was very involved in Richard Glossop's case. We won at Supreme Court. We were able to show that DAs purposely, and their own investigator wrote an affidavit saying he was instructed to destroy key evidence. That guy can never get a fair trial because they destroyed the evidence that would have cleared it. Okay, and now the AG is arguing, let's try him. Well, he knows he can't get a fair trial. Fleener, we know that they held information back. We know they testified wrong on the medical information. We know this guy's been in prison 29 years. And again, we can't get him in front of the court system to get him out. Now, I think we will, but again, it's a dogfight. When we have all this evidence, it should be much, much easier. And again, you have the DAs being the gatekeepers holding this back. And then here's the DAs violating the law and have been told what they're doing is violating law. It ain't maybe I think the appellate court told them what they're doing is criminal, it's wrong, and they keep doing it. And again, if it was just that, but it wrecks our whole criminal justice system. And then even if we are going to send these guys to prison, we don't need them sitting around up there doing nothing. We need them out working. We need to get them trained.
Okay, so you're saying that one of your issues you'd like to work on is the criminal justice system.
Bob, I got a whole PowerPoint to change the entire criminal justice system that actually holds people accountable.
But are you going to continue? You're going to continue that once you're elected?
Absolutely. This is what Lieutenant Governor ought to be doing, is changing these things so that people find our state attractive. If we're number one in criminal justice, they're going to find us attractive. If we're number one in education, they're going to find us attractive. When you're 50th, they're going to go, well, I'd rather go over here into a better education place. I don't want to go down there where, man, they destroy evidence, where they try to kill people, where they don't do anything to anybody who steals your property and just keeps letting them do it so they can pay the DA. Those are all things that nobody else will address it. They're all scared of the DAs. They're all scared to take on the DAs. Now, they can sit back and, I tried, I do all this. No, you don't. You haven't done it. You've been in there 8 years. You ain't done it. Guess what? This is not me talking. I do it every day. And Bob, DHS, do you want to come to a state where they're taking people, your kids out of a home? DHS just shows up, takes your kids, don't follow, any kind of due process, doesn't follow the law, And again,
Speaking of that one, JJ, I heard talk from a very good friend of mine who was uh, they had five kids. They wanted to adopt another kid, and they fought them. Didn't want to do it. When they got a good Christian home to go into, they got the finances, got everything you should have to take care of the kids, and their DHS is fighting them. They took him to court. The guy had to spend a lot of money, but he finally beat him. And they had nothing to go on from the back end of it.
Do you remember, Bob? Do you remember that about maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, we had a person on that was a reporter talking about a kid that had been taken from a mother for no reason. They had no reason to even be there. She had been on drugs and she went and checked herself into a rehab, stayed 9 months to make sure that her baby was safe, was off drugs, the baby was not on drugs, went and had the baby. DHS shows up for absolutely no reason. They had no legal authority, went and took that kid, did not ever go through the proper due process. She finally goes back in and says, I'm taking my kid. They call the police and go through the whole process again, stop them from seeing their kid, give that kid to an adopted same-sex couple who one of the couple was a pedophile, got caught perping on another kid, ended up killing himself, and now that other same-sex couple took the kid to another state, and DHS doing nothing to help them get it.
Now we're talking about three major issues: the DHS and mental health. That's a big deal, real big deal going on. So you're talking about those two. You're talking about following up on the DAs. What else are you going to do?
And we're doing, and so people need to understand, it's not talk. I'm not talking. I am doing right now. I was in Stillwater all day yesterday, working on a petition so that we can hold our entire state government accountable. And that's what, Bob, people say, well, if you get this position, JJ, how are you going to do this? I'll tell you how, because I'm going to be out there publicly saying, hey, governor, and it doesn't matter which governor. It doesn't matter which governor. I want to work with governors. Bob, I want to work with whoever. I want to go in and say, what do you want? I'll make you the best hand. I'll work as hard. Let's fix this thing. But if they come back and won't do it, do you think there's one governor? You name any one of those people who win governor, do you think I wouldn't call them out if they wouldn't take care of children? If they wouldn't?
Well, there's no question about that, JJ.
What's that?
You'll call them out.
Oh, I
don't have anybody. We don't have, and this is my opinion, we don't have anybody in the state that goes after this corruption like you do.
Well, Bob, and that's what I'm saying. Let me give you another example, Bob. Broadband. Do you think companies want to come to a place, and especially out in rural Oklahoma, where we have so much potential? We have, we have lumber, we have water, we have all this open space. It's cheaper space. So these companies have a great place to come. Okay, but guess what? You can't get broadband. Do you think anybody's going to bring a company? Now we have spent $3 billion with a B on broadband. We have appointed the most political board you've ever seen over broadband. They just don't. Now, this is my understanding. I had some people looking at this. We're investigating it. We're trying to look into it. They just dumped $1.3 billion in the last dump of money to this board. Now, $1.3 billion, I understand that board got 61% of that money. That means the people on the board gave themselves 61% of that money. Now, Bob, tell me that don't sound pretty sketchy. That sounds sketchy.
Well, that sounds like somebody at Department of Corrections.
Oh, Bob, and that's the problem. It sounds like our entire government. So when you start looking at all this, this is the problem. Now, again, if it was just corruption and we don't have money, that'd be one thing. But it's not just that, because we don't have broadband. They've refused to tie on to what we have existing. So instead of using the existing, infrastructure, no, what they want to do is bypass it, because guess what? They get paid by laying it. They get paid by the mile. They don't want to hook on and save half the distance, and now make it spread out over the whole deal. They don't want to actually hook people up. They want to lay line because they get paid for every mile. They don't care how many people hook up on them. So, Bob, one thing that I looked at, and just check this out. So, if we're talking about people coming, we want to make broadband available. Think about this. So, I'm in a meeting the other day, and we're talking about that we looked at 2,100 houses. 2,100 houses on a stretch here.
Yeah.
And under the current group, it was going to cost $42,500 per house. Now get your calculator out, and if I remember right, that's right around $89 million or something. Okay, 42.5. So I called up a very large company and say, how much can y'all do it for? $3,500. Bob, $38,000. Now put your calculator to that. That's unbelievable. And here's what's funny, Bob. We had all this infrastructure already available that they could have put it on for a quarter of the price and had this done 10 years ago. They're not interested in getting this. They're interested in making groups making money. So here's what's funny, Bob. And I'm doing this while we're sitting there talking. We're all in this meeting. We're sitting there talking. I break out my old phone and I get up here and I hit my old calculator. And I said 2,100 houses times, you know what? Elon Musk has Starlink. Guess what it costs to put in, Bob?
How much?
$120. Now, Starlink may not be as good as fiber, but it's still pretty good. Okay. Now we were talking 89 million. Guess what it would cost for them same houses on Starlink?
What?
Buy all the houses we buy on satellites, $252,000. For $89 million, we can buy everybody in Oklahoma Starlink. Call up old Elon, probably get a discount for buying that many. We'd probably do it cheaper. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of common sense. And if you say, well, that's not the lieutenant governor's job. Yes, it is the lieutenant governor's job if you make that your job, because guess what? That's promoting Oklahoma. That's getting broadband into every spot in Oklahoma. And again, Bob, do you want to come to a prison that has a third world prison system? Now, Bob, of all the people that I know,
someone just told me that. I kept trying to think of it was now yesterday over the phone of how bad our system is.
Well, Bob, a lot of people wouldn't believe when they hear me say it, a third world prison system. They go, oh, bull. Now, Bob, you of all people, can it get a witness? I'm not over exaggerating when I say we have people being murdered on a weekly rate, probably averaging somewhere around 3 per week.
Oh, absolutely, it's going on.
Rate,
that's happening.
Out of control. And again, we see contracts. We see like the last contract, the food contract, $70 million. They totally ignored that they're already under contract. And then they had to get caught and go, you can't do that. You got a contract over here. And then they go over the people with the contract and do some willy-nilly work something out. Oh, we're fine now. Now we'll just, and what did that cost? Nobody knows what that costs. And again, what's the quality of food? Why are we getting away from privatization? Here's what's funny. The director and the governor come out. We're finally done. Our administration got rid of the privatization. We're done with the private. And then what are they doing in the back door? Out there in the alley, what are they doing, Bob? They're privatizing every service. So, no, we own the building now. But guess what? We're going to privatize. We're going to get AI. We're going to do away with all the officers. We're going to come in with some magical AI system, and that's going to take care of everything. While we're doing all this, people are being raped, people are being extorted, people are being killed, and they are covering it up on a wholesale level. And again, nobody wants to call that out. I will call it out, and I will do something to fix it. That's the difference. It's not only calling it out, not only exposing it, but Bob, I don't know about you. Are you sick of, I'm watching Washington, D.C., And I'm hoping, man, I'm seeing now they're coming out with all this Russia gate, all the auto pen thing, all the J6 stuff. How long have we been talking about that, Bob?
Long
10
time.
years.
Well, how long are we going to talk about this with what they're trying to put on to the educations are now
Well, they
online?
sell.
That's the
Yeah,
silliest thing I've ever heard of.
here's the deal. But here's what I'm telling people. If you want to see somebody who doesn't just talk, guess what? When we're talking about DOC, when we're talking about, hey, we went after these rapes and they wouldn't listen to us, so we had our own hearing. They still wouldn't listen to us, turned it over to the AG. He wouldn't do anything. Guess what? We're filing lawsuit after lawsuit. I went and found a group of lawyers, and guess what? We have 7 or 8 federal lawsuits right now on the Department of Corrections. When we're talking about the employees, the Department of Corrections, you want to talk about, man, they are terrible on their employees. And guess what? How many lawsuits were we involved in right there, Bob?
Oh, maybe 20.
You think 20? I'd guess I would have thought more like 30. But whether it's 30 or 20, can I get a witness? We're taking them to task. It's not just us talking about it. It's not just us saying. But here's what's funny: when we win, and Bob, have we won almost every one of them? We've won every one.
All of them but one.
So we win all but one. What did they do, Bob?
What did they do?
Yeah.
Well, if they solved this, they hired more attorneys, and then they went on the outside and paying attorneys $500 an hour.
And so here's
wasting the taxpayer dollars.
Taxpayers' dollars. They know they've lost. Now they can't do anything except they can't go back and retry the case. All they're going back and doing is saying, did that court operate right? Which good luck on getting that one won. And guess what? They're going out and hiring attorneys for $500 an hour so that these people can't get their jobs back, just to break them. And then at the end of the day, after they spend 2 years of paying a $500 an hour lawyer that comes out of our pocket, then they'll end up having to pay all of these employees back pay. They're going to end up having to pay them. They're going to end up getting their vacation times and all of that kind of stuff. It's going to cost the fool out of the state of
Oklahoma. You know what, JJ? I don't want to get on this, but this is he doesn't care. The director doesn't care because he won't have that position then. Somebody else is going to have it. Someone else is going to have to pay it all out of his mess. But go ahead. Tell me some other things you're going to do with the government.
But that's important because it's not just DOC. That's going on in every state agency, and they're keeping. So here's what I want to say. Whether we're talking DHS, whether we're talking DOC, OJA, none of the government is holding any of these agencies accountable. Mental health lost $90 million. Where's it at? We're going to start a task force. Well, good luck with that. That task force is going to do absolutely nothing. They're going to do absolutely nothing, and we're going to be 90 million in the hole and nobody accountable. And how does that affect us? And so one of the next things that I'm looking at, because of this mental health issue, our jails are now losing their insurance because guess what? All the mental health people are going into the jail. Our jails are getting sued, and now we're losing all these cases. Well, I started doing an investigation into these jails, and guess what I found? What appears to be massive corruption on the AGCO. It looks like that they've been cheating these jails, charging way more insurance, holding a lot of money in an account, making the interest off of it, and not using it, but charging counties, these poor counties that had no money, and they're getting them and collecting all this money, holding it in reserve, and then double charging them. And guess what? It looks corrupt. So we're investigating that, Bob. And again, that means for you that you don't get higher property tax. One of the things that's in that criminal justice program, Bob, is that we would put regional jails. So instead of building prisons, we go in about every 3 counties and we put regional jails, which means we don't have to have as many prisons because these are like mini prisons in each region, but they're state. It stops lawsuits. We can put mental health pods on them. so that now we have a mental health facility in each one of these 3 counties. And again, we have to get the money to pay for that. Guess how we do that? We do it by not paying $312 million for another 28-year-old prison that's down there in Lawton, Oklahoma. We put prisons in every 3 counties to where we cut down on transportation. We keep these people local. And again, we stop them from going. That is what the Republicans say. Less government, local government, push it down to the local area. Everything I'm designing takes the money away from these big state agencies and puts it right down on a local level where the actual problem is. And we address the actual problem. Every one of my plans are doing that. And again, this is promoting Oklahoma. This is growing Oklahoma. This is making Oklahoma what we claim. We're going to put them in top, not in the bottom. So, Bob, that's a big, big deal. One of the other things that I really want to put out there, you've not seen anybody else go after and protect Oklahoma. And I will give an example. We had a preacher / teacher who was a federal firearms dealer who the ATF come in and said, we want to search your home. He said, come ahead. I ain't got nothing to hide. Come on. They searched his home. They said, we want to look at your computer. Come ahead. Look at my computer. No problem. They come in and they went through his whole computer. Then they went out and got a search warrant. Now, they by law have to give you a copy of that, but they won't give him a copy of it. Okay. And they come in and they raid his home. Well, Bob, first of all, if he's already consented to, what's the need of getting a search warrant? He's already consented and said they can search. What's the need of getting anything for his computer and seizing his computer? He'll let you have access. You come in, do a thumb drive, whatever you want. You know, now, again, why did they need to raid his home? They seized his guns illegally because guess what? They didn't arrest him and they only seized half. You can't seize half. You got to either seize all or. So these guys broke the law. I've tried to get the AG to do something. I've tried to get all of our government officials on board. Guess what they've done?
Nothing.
They've done nothing. They've done nothing. Do you know right now we have that case? I wrote up a probable cause on it to arrest the ATF. It is sitting on the president's desk right now. I'm not going to say it's going to get done, but I do know personally, I've done the work to get that setting on the president's desk. And again, that's the difference between me and other candidates. Other candidates are going to tell you, oh, I did all I can. I did all I can. Bull, they're not doing anything. They're doing very, very little, if anything. And Bob, I will tell you another thing that I want to push for, and that's fairness. Bob, I want to see fairness because you and I both know in this political system, we watched this week as Ryan Walters got smeared over something that should have been handled every different way. We saw these people jump up and immediately ask for an investigation. In 5 minutes, they asked for an investigation on something that was not criminal. It didn't amount to a hill of beans. All the government leaders in 5 minutes jumped up and said, let's have an investigation. And here's the deal. I'm fine with the investigation, but let's investigate the matter. Not Ryan Walters. Let's investigate the matter to see if these people were smearing him or to see if that was the case. That's what they should have done. Hopefully that's what they're doing. But at the end of the day, Bob, do you remember when I come out with the report on, I'll say her name right, Joy Hawkmeister? You guys, I like to call her joyless. I like to call her joyless. She stole the joy out of my life. But you remember when I come out with the report on her for using her office for campaigning for governor?
Yeah.
She was using her car. She was using her equipment. She was using her people. And I come out with and said allegedly. And so again, I'll say allegedly that we come out with that. But we had allegedly, we had a lot of great evidence showing the alleged, and we turned it over to everyone. And guess what happened?
Nothing.
Not one thing. So let me ask you, these same people that can 5 minutes, I mean, in the drop of a hat, they can investigate Ryan Walters for possible, can't even tell you what the nudity was, possible nudity. Can't tell you whether he put it on there or not, but yet we can provide mountains of evidence of criminal action, and these same people refuse to investigate that superintendent. If you went back and looked, she illegally closed the school. I put that together. I gave it to state auditor. I gave it to the OSBI. I gave it to all these people. Beautiful package. Guess what? No action. No, didn't even look at it. I've done that with OMMA, so Oklahoma Medical Marijuana. We've done that. I've provided massive amounts of proof of major issues in financing and how that they do business, and that I believe is illegal. And again, guess what? You haven't heard a single solitary word out of any of them. So, Bob, that's one of the ways that I want to bring all of these things, and I want to correct all of these things. And again, Bob, it's not enough.
Nope.
It's not enough to just call it out, to expose it, to address it. But if you don't
follow up on it,
well, you got to follow up, and you got to have a plan. Bob, the problem is, let me give you an example. We know that CPS, so Child Protective Services, we know Child Protective Services is a nightmare. Okay. Who has a plan on how to change Child Protective? You know, one of the top government officials the other day I heard was addressed, they asked that, well, what about DHS? And they said, DHS is so messed up, nobody can fix it. That's what I was told they said. And I went, wow. And again, you know, Bob, they say we're on elephant in the room. Guess how you eat the elephant, Bob?
How you eat the elephant?
One bite at a time. And that's what you got to do. You got to go in there and you got to break this thing. So let's take CPS. Okay. One of the big problems is CPS has to go out and get law enforcement to go with them. Also, there's a law that says when we get a report like this, law enforcement has to be notified. So what do? You take CPS out of DHS, you take the money and you push it back down to the local level. You give it to our sheriffs and say, okay, create your CPS unit. So now everything is going to law enforcement. Now we're meeting that law. Guess what? These people who should be law enforcement, they're going out to just as dangerous, where they ought to be law enforcement. Plus, they're not getting paid right, correctly, and their retirement's terrible. So guess what? We fix all of that by making them law enforcement officers. CPS now goes under Sheriff's Department, now goes out, and they are law enforcement officers, can take action as a law enforcement officer, and then those cases get turned over to some people from DHS who are over unification. That means they're trying to put the family back together, and that we don't terminate families. That needs to be the last result, not the first result. We don't need to take kids away from their mom and dad. We need to make sure mom and dads get their behavior corrected and unite the family. Now, if mom and dad won't do that, absolutely. At the end of the day, we don't want to put a kid in danger, but this is how you fix one solution.
JJ, now I'm just a guy sitting out here listening to you, but I know what you're doing. I know what you're working on. I know everything you're doing. A lot of guys run for office. They make a bunch of promises. They'll do this. They'll do that. They're going to do this. And you never hear that another thing about it once they win. They don't do it. In your situation, you're going to do it because you're already doing it.
Right. Bob, again, here's the deal. I think anybody that knows me knows that you could drop me in a rock pile and I'm going to find something to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm going to find something to fix, something to do. And again, our government is corrupt. Our government is broke. And there needs to be somebody, there needs to be a watchdog calling this out, trying to fix these problems. And again, Bob, we've seen Doge, we've seen Oklahoma. Oh, we're going to do the Oklahoma Doge. Tell me one thing that you've seen them come out with that they Doge.
Yeah, I don't know any.
Do you know anything? And guess what, Bob? I just handed you AGCO. I just handed you DHS. Lost 100 million. Mental health lost 90 million. You want to talk about Doge material? These suckers are rich with Doge material and they're doing nothing. And
Well, hey, a few years ago, they lost money was it DHS lost money, 35 million, and they went and robbed the money from the county commissioners and said, as soon as we're going to pay it back.
But Bob,
never paid it back.
You were there when we lost that 32 million.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal, man. I mean, that was a big statewide deal, and they got that money, like you said, robbed them and never gave it back. But think about this, Bob. DHS, 100 million in the hole, nobody knows. Mental health, 90 million is my understanding, in the hole, nobody knows. And how much have you heard about it?
Well, they just bought that
prison,
prison 300, what was it, $18 million.
190 million, like, okay, it went somewhere and nothing done. How many people been held accountable while they voted to let go the mental health person? But dadgum, that's what you're going to do. $90 million gone, and we ain't got a bed out here, and we ain't got nothing, and you're just going to say, okay, she just had a bad year. Let's let her go. No, we need an investigation. Where's this money? You think 90 million's gone and it ain't going in somebody's pocket? If you do, I got some oceanfront property right down here in Lane, Oklahoma. Throw the Golden Gate. Me and old George Strait will throw the Golden Gate in free if you want to come down here and buy some property like that. You know what I mean? So it's Bob, why are we not seeing things done? Why are we not seeing people at a high level calling these things out? And if you don't think I'll call out the Speaker of the House, I just sued the Speaker of the House and the Department of Corrections for trying to keep me from
anybody's ever done it that I know of.
What's that?
I said, I'm not aware of anyone who's ever done that.
I'll guarantee you. So you think that I won't hold no matter who? My best friend, if I think they're doing something wrong, again, I'll hug their neck. I'll tell them I love them and mean it. But I'm going to hold it accountable when it comes to kids, when it comes to people being raped, when it comes to people's money being stolen, when it comes to Oklahoma not getting, it makes me mad out here where I live that our kids don't have the same opportunities because we do not have broadband. And again, when you want to be competitive on a world stage, we need that kind of experience. We're not getting it. We got to bring Oklahoma up. We've got to be attractive. We got to be the places that people want to come. That's what Lieutenant Governor ought to be. And if you ain't got somebody with the guts to go after it, we're not going to see it. What you're going to see is them going out. They're going to cut ribbons. They're going to do the same thing that everybody else has done before them. And that is absolutely nothing. Name me one thing that somebody else has done in there that is really something of accountability, that's something you remember. And again, we started this by asking you, name me the last three. I haven't met but one person can do it. Name me something they've done. Nobody can tell you. I'm going to end on this, and I will say once again, I love Matt Burnell. He is a great, awesome guy. All three of those people that's been that, I have very much respect all three of them. Like all three of them, they've all been nice to me. But here's the thing. They introduced Matt the other night. I'm at a big deal, and they introduced Matt as the guy who cleaned up Oklahoma bathrooms. Now, Bob, I don't think he cleaned them up. I think he dozed them down because they dozed down all of the rest stops. I like rest stops. When I'm traveling, I like to stop in at a rest stop. I like them to be clean. I don't want a bunch of criminals out there around them. So you get your highway patrol, making sure that you keep them safe and all that. Shouldn't have dozed them down. Should have cleaned them up. That's what we should have done. But here's the deal, Bob. In 8 years, if you have to be known as a person who cleaned up bathrooms, that position is not meeting what it has the potential. That position has great potential. Nobody's doing it. I'm excited. I think I can bring a whole new game to that position. People will be like, oh, JJ, no, I ain't talk. You go check me out. Go look at my last 10 years. I'm not talk. I'm action.
No, there's no question about it. I hate you to investigate me, JJ.
So, Bob, I'm tenacious. I will tell you this. We get in on it. I'm not going to quit. And if the AG says JJ's wrong, fine. That's your opinion, AG. We'll go on and we'll go get us a grand jury. We'll go to federal court. And Bob, I'll give you one of the cases we were talking about a while ago. So I got a kid named Clarence Smith that I wrote the AG quite a while ago and said, hey, this case has got many holes in it. This case is terrible. You need to reopen it. You need to look at it. Guess what? He didn't do it. It went to federal court. Guess what the federal court told him?
Redo it.
Reopen it and get it done. And again, and I will tell you this, Bob, I really believe that's going to be it. And we have to start looking at this kind of stuff where Oklahoma is, they just, if you have a problem and they've dropped the ball, that's, whether you're in prison, whether you're in DHS, whether it's child support, doesn't matter, trying to get Oklahoma. And Bob, you know what? We were going to talk about pet peeves. So next week, we're going to start our pet peeves on this, but I want to end on pet peeves. One of the things I'd like to see government, that you could get a real person on the phone. Bob, you call up there, it's like 25 options, and you got to listen to all of them and go, I think it was 4. Let me listen to it again. Go through it again. Okay, 4. And then it gives you 12 more options. And then you get that 12 more and okay, listen to it twice.
Is that called on the state of Oklahoma, or is that called on DHS or somebody else?
All of them, man. You can't call prisons hardly get nobody. You can't call DHS get nobody. And again, then you finally get a deal. You finally go, okay, I know this is the one I want. You call it and that person gets on a speaker deal. I'm sorry, I'm not available. But if you leave your number, I promise you, I will never, ever, ever, ever in your whole lifetime call you back. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to be joking me. I spent half a day. One lady was calling the tax commission the other day, and I talked to her. She was upset. She spent the entire day, just put them on, left them on the entire day to get a call back. They never answered her. She left them on the entire day, and it was something she had to have. Left them on the entire day, called back the next day, and took her half a day. She spent a day and a half trying to talk to a person to find out how to file something for our taxes. We've got to fix that, Bob. That's got to be fixed. There's no reason in today's technology that, technology should make it better, not worse.
Well, JJ, do you think that the government in Oklahoma should be run like a business on the outside, or do you think they're different? Because on the outside, the government run the business. On the outside, they're looking for a profit. They're looking to make a profit for the board. We don't need to make a profit for the board.
Well, Bobby, and you're doing stuff for the people of Oklahoma. It's not like we're trying to do. No, you pay taxes. We're working for you. You're our boss. You are the corporate. You are the person. So no, it's nothing alike. Now we can be more business-like, and there are so many ways. Bob, I got so many ways to track money that makes all this where they're wasting so much money. It's so easy to track. One of the other things, Bob, let me give you an example kind of what you're talking about. Yeah, we're having to pay for parks. So used to, we went to our parks.
That's wrong.
And guess what? We're paying taxes. Why do I have to pay taxes? And then I got to pay you a fee to ask, can I come down here to my own park that's in my backyard? And Bob, here's the thing. A lot of people can't go to Italy. A lot of people can't go to Europe. And so for them to take their family over there and go camping is their vacation. And again, to take that away from people who pay taxes, that's another thing. You want to talk about tourism? That's going to be a big issue for me, is to make sure I have no problem charging outside people that come from another state. I don't mind getting their money. But if you pay taxes in this state, you shouldn't have to pay to get on a WMA program. You shouldn't have to pay to get on a lake or
I haven't heard anybody talk about getting rid of that, getting back where we don't have to pay to go there. I think she's good on that, to give that a look. I haven't heard anybody wanting to do it.
I'm going to put together a package of what we're talking about. So you go to my webpage, jjforok.com, jjforok.com, and we're going to have all these things where it's not just, hey, I got a plan. It's not just trying to expose it. It's having a solution. Most people don't have a solution, and even if they do have a solution, they can't enact their solution. Put it to actual work. And again, We've got all of that ready to go. Got a lot of plans how we do all this. And so I just invite you, stay tuned, listen to what's actually being said, get somebody in there that's got a history and it will get the job done, not talk, action.
Well, JJ, I appreciate it. And I know one thing that I'm no question in my mind. If you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And you can't change your mind because you're bullheaded.
I am a little hard-headed, Bob. They do say that.
You're going to do it no matter what. You're going to do it. And you're going to win, and you're going to stay after it if you can get it done. So I'm looking forward to this race. We finally got somebody that's actually going to do something, that has done something, and that will do something about the corruption we have in the state of Oklahoma.
We want to change it. Bob, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate your friendship and you being on here. Catch you later.